My name is
Ladies and
Zoe.
gentlemen,
I'm
welcome to the
28,
most
and until
insane
3
mega
months
ramp
ago,
in
I was
GTA
living
5
with my
history.
parents
I'm
while
talking
working a
sky-high
six-figure
stunts,
remote tech
zero
job.
gravity
To
jumps,
them,
and
I might as
crashes
well have
so
been
wild.
unemployed.
Buckle up
Did you even
because
get
this
dressed
ride's
today?
gonna be
Mom would
absolute
ask
chaos.
every morning as I sat down at my home office setup with coffee. I have meetings at 9. On the computer doesn't count. She'd shake her head. Your cousin Andrea works at a bank. Now that's a real job. It started small. Comments here and there about how I was always home or never busy. But it escalated when Dad started introducing me to his friends as still figuring things out. I had been contributing $2,000 monthly to household expenses for 2 years. Not because they asked initially, but because Dad lost his job and their mortgage was behind. I stepped in quietly, thinking it was temporary. 2 years later, Dad had found new work, but the expectation remained. The $2,000 was just assumed now. Meanwhile, my younger sister Hannah, who worked part-time retail, was treated like royalty because she went to work every day and knew how to interact with real people. The breaking point came at Sunday dinner. Dad's friend Carl was visiting, and the conversation turned to careers. Zoe's in tech, Mon said, vaguely, like she wasn't quite sure herself. Oh yeah? What company? Carl asked. Before I could answer, Dad jumped in. She works from her bedroom, does computer stuff. We keep telling her she needs to get out more, network, but you know how this generation is. I felt my face burn. I'm a senior software engineer at... See, she's very defensive about it, Dad said to Carl, laughing. Doesn't like being challenged. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every dismissive comment, every time they'd minimized my career while praising Hannah's $15 an hour job, because it was honest work. The next morning, I started looking at apartments. I found a 1-bedroom loft downtown, signed the lease, and spent the following week quietly moving my things while they were at work. My computer equipment, my clothes, my furniture I'd bought myself. I left my childhood bedroom completely empty. On moving day, I transferred my last $2,000 to their account with a note. Final contribution. Good luck. Then I turned off my phone and finished moving. 3 days later, I turned my phone back on to 47 missed calls and a dozen increasingly frantic texts. Mom, where are you? Your room is empty. Dad, this is extremely immature. Call us immediately. Hannah, Mom's freaking out. Dad's pissed. What did you do? I replied to the group chat. I moved out. I have my own place now. The response was instant. Dad, you can't just leave. We have bills. Mom, how could you do this without discussing it with us? I stared at those messages, the audacity of them. I'd been paying their bills for 2 years, and not once had they discussed it with me first. It was simply expected. I didn't respond. A week later, Dad showed up at my workplace. Not my home, because I hadn't given them the address. He'd somehow tracked down my company's office from my LinkedIn, apparently not realizing I only went in once a month. I was in a team meeting when the receptionist called. There's a man here, saying he's your father. He seems upset. I excused myself and found Dad in the lobby, looking around at the modern space, the beanbag chairs, the ping pong table in the common area. This is where you work? He seemed genuinely shocked. When I'm not remote, yes. He looked uncomfortable, realizing perhaps for the first time that my job was real, that I had colleagues, that I existed in a professional space he'd been dismissing for years. We need to talk about the house, he said finally. What about it? The mortgage. We've been counting on your contribution. We can't cover it without you. You managed before I started helping. That was different. Things have changed. Hannah's saving for college. and Hannah's 25. She's been saving for college for 7 years. His jaw tightened. Don't be cruel. She's trying. I'm not being cruel. I'm being honest. Something you've never been with me about my career. Oh, here we go. You're upset because we don't praise you enough for typing on a computer? Several of my colleagues had walked by during this exchange. I could see them glancing over, uncomfortable. Dad, you need to leave. This is my workplace. Your workplace? He scoffed. You barely come here, which is part of why they pay me $140,000 a year, because I can work from anywhere and still deliver results. The number stopped him cold. What? My salary. Since you've spent 2 years calling my job fake, I figured you should know what fake jobs pay these days. I walked back to my meeting, leaving him standing in the lobby. That night, Mom called. Not angry this time, but pleading. Zoe, please. We're going to lose the house. You're not going to lose the house. You just need to budget differently. We can't, not without your help.
Bullshit.
You had help for 2 years, while calling my job fake and treating Hannah like the successful one for working retail. We never said. You did, constantly. And you know what the worst part is? I kept paying because I thought eventually you'd respect what I do. But you never will you? Silence. I'm not coming back, I said quietly. Figure it out, like millions of other people do. Over the next month, the calls became less frequent. The texts shifted from demanding to guilt-tripping to eventually just sad. Mom, your father had to pick up weekend shifts. He's exhausted. Hannah, they're talking about selling the house. Is this really what you want? I didn't respond to most of them, but I did send one final message to the group chat. I wanted respect. That's all I ever wanted. The house was never my responsibility. Your financial planning was never my job. I was helping out of love, and you treated me like a burden. That's on you. Meanwhile, my career continued to flourish. Without the stress of that house, without the constant criticism, I got promoted. My salary jumped to $165,000. I started mentoring junior engineers and speaking at tech conferences. One day, I posted about a conference talk I'd given. Hannah was the first to comment. This is actually really cool. I had no idea you did stuff like this. It stung in a way I hadn't expected. My own family hadn't known what I did because they'd never bothered to ask. 6 months after I moved out, Mom texted, "Can we meet for coffee?" I almost said no, but something made me agree. She looked tired when I arrived. Older, somehow. We sold the house, she said without preamble. Moved into a condo. I heard. Your father's been working a lot. Hannah finally enrolled in community college. She paused. We had to learn how to manage without you. That was always the point, Mom. I wasn't supposed to be your retirement plan. I know. Her voice cracked. I know that now. We didn't realize how much you were carrying, or how dismissive we'd been. You called my job fake. We were wrong, so completely wrong. She pulled out her phone and showed me an article she'd bookmarked. I've been reading about tech careers, about remote work. I'm trying to understand what you do. It was something. Not an excuse, but a start. I still don't think I can come back, I said gently. I'm not asking you to. I just wanted to say I'm sorry and that I'm proud of you. I should have said it 2 years ago. We sat in silence for a moment. Dad? I asked. He's processing. He's not good at admitting when he's wrong. I nodded. I knew that about him. A year later, I'm still in my loft downtown. Dad and I have coffee once a month. Awkward, but improving. Mom texts me articles about tech now, trying to bridge the gap. Hannah actually asked me for career advice recently. The house is gone, but so is the weight of carrying people who couldn't see me for who I was. So here's my question. How long should you financially support family who doesn't respect you? And is it wrong to let them struggle when they've spent years dismissing your success? What would you do?